everybody. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the quadratic formula and how to practice, and just doing some practice here. So the quadratic formula, so we all remember it, is x equals, there's not enough contrasting color on this page, but to stay focused, let's put that in there. Hopefully, okay. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And there's a separate video to help you remember this formula so that you can know it and not have to worry about it or look it up or any of those things. It's just faster if we just know what we're talking about. Okay. So, whoa, blur slot. We can't. Okay, that's what it's doing better. So, first thing we do is identify A, B, and C. So, A is 2, B is a little tricky on this one, and C is negative 55. So I would definitely not want to try to factor this because of how big these numbers are. Negative 55, I don't want to try to factor it. B is 1. Remember, when we don't see it, there's a 1 there. So B is 1. And so let's just plug everything in. So we've got x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. And as I'm saying the letters, I'm replacing them with the things. So we've got negative b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Sometimes this is the hardest part, is putting everything into that formula, which is silly, but unfortunately true. So then we get negative 1 plus or minus the square root of. 1 squared is 1. 4 times 2 is 8 times negative 55. And 8 times 55, I don't know. So I'm going to use the calculator and find out. Because why waste the time? Which gives me, so since it's negative, so negative 8 times negative 55. Let me just actually, let me just show you what I'm doing here. Negative 4 times 2 times negative 55 is positive 440. So plus 440. All over 2 times 2 is 4. There I am. Pretty straightforward still. We get negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 440 is 441. Made my square root sign too long. All over 4. X equals negative 1 plus. So I'm just going to, or minus, I'm just going to double check. Maybe I might be done, I might not. 4, oh, oops. Clear. Second square root 441. 20. Oh, it's a nice number. 21. Okay, so when this happens, I have more work to do. If this had been a decimal, I would have stopped. But since it's a nice whole number, I'm going to keep going, which means I could have factored this. But again, with a number like 55, that means I've got negative 210, negative 110. I don't want to think of the numbers and multiply to make that. So I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. Bring it up here. We've got x equals negative 1 plus 21 over 4. And then underneath, I'll write it underneath. I don't want to go in my space for 2. X equals negative 1 minus 21 over 4. So this, x equals 20 over 4. And then this one is negative 22 over 4. And so x equals 20 divided by 4 is 5. 22 divided by 4 is not a nice number. I can leave it as 22 divided by 4. I'm going to divide them both by 2 though. Negative 11 over 2. And I'm finished. There you go. So let's try another. We'll try number 2. So the first thing I want you to do is identify A, B, and C. So A equals, B equals, and C equals. A is 2, B is 11, and C is -9. Okay, notice I'm just using the numbers. Please be very careful. Oh, you know what? This is bad. Look, I said X, and that's an N. The faster way, by the way, would be just say X equals N and call it a day, but I didn't, so I'm going to just go back and put all those N's in. It doesn't matter. It matters. Matters enough to change it. So this time I have R. So R equals negative B, -11 plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC okay, all over 2A. R equals -11 plus or minus the square root of 11 squared. You can check with your calculator, but 11 squared is 121. That one I know. Then we've got 4 times 2 times 8. So -4 times 2 is 4 times 2 times -9. 4 times 2 is -8. -4 times 2 is -8 times -9 is +72. Just to double check that for you, we'll do it right here. So -4 times 2 times -9, 72. Okay. Don't feel bad if you have to grab a calculator. I do it all the time. All over 4. And so R equals -11 plus or minus the square root of 121 plus 72 is 193. Then I'm going to take the square root of 193. I got a decimal, which means I'm done. And so R equals -11 plus the square root of 193 over 4, and -11 minus the square root of 193 over 4. I don't know why I wrote a 3 right here. Sometimes we just don't do the right math. And that's it. That's my answers. I really like it when my answer, I don't have to do any more work. It makes me very happy. Because when this happens, I'm like, oh, I should have noticed it factored. Oh, then I have to go through all those processes. Assuming we didn't have a calculator. Now, granted, we could have grabbed a calculator and factor, but I like to trudge with the best of them. So let's go ahead and jump down to number 3. Okay. And again, we'll do the same work. We're going to start by identifying A, B, and C. So A is 3, B is -3, and C is -21. That's C's way too close. Okay. So again, this time we have B, the letter B. Which is really a terrible letter choice, but whatever. And the negative B, so that's going to be +3. Because if it's negative, it changes to positive. Plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC. So you'll notice I just say the formula and put the letters in. It's easier for me to remember. All over 2A. Okay. And so 3 plus or minus the square root of -3 squared is +9. 4 times 3 times 21. Again, we'll use our proper minus signs in there. Negative 4 times 3 times negative 21 is 252. Again, positive. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay. Equals B. B equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 261 over 6. My square root button right there, 261. Again, decimal, so I'm finished. And I'm going to write my answer out twice so I remember that I have two answers. B equals 3 plus the square root of 261 over 6, or 3 minus the square root of 261 over 6. You can see why we want a shortcut to writing that down. But if I wanted a decimal, this is what I'd plug into my calculator. This calculator is cool like that because I can go 3 plus, square root 261 over 6. Ta-da, decimal. Recommended phone calculators. The things I'm looking at. Recommend phone calculators, not that one. This one, Desmos. I can turn the fraction on right at the beginning. 3 plus square root 261 over 6. Same answer. Calculator that cost $100. Calculator app that was free. You choose. Okay, and then I can do the other one if I want a decimal. Again, we don't necessarily need decimals. All right, let's do number 4. And again, ABC. Go ahead and think about that. What's A, what's B, what's C? A is 1, B is negative 1, and C is 9. Okay, so K equals negative B, so that's going to be plus 1 times the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times C, 4AC, all over 2A. So K equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 squared is 1. 4 times 1 times 9 is 4 times 1, which 4 times 1 is 1, 4. This is 36 minus 36 over 2. We'll double check that on the calculator. 4 times 1 times 9, and it was 4. Wait, I did that wrong. Four times 1 times 9, negative 4. So it's minus 36. This is why I have the minus sign there. 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 36 is negative 35 over 2. Square root of a negative number, so no real solutions. We're done. Okay. So you can see how the fastest ones were the ones where I had a square root that I couldn't process, right, versus this one where I had to keep going because I had to process my square root. And then this one, even faster because there were no real solutions. And that's it. All right, I'll see you guys soon.